Hello everyone, I'm Sally.
And I'm Anne-Marie.
And welcome to your ICE Assembly for this week. So, as you've probably guessed from the title of the video, we are following the story of Moses still. And we left him last week just about to set off on an important job that God had given him. We're going to find out what happened next when he went to Egypt. But I think you've got a game for us, Anne-Marie, before we start.
I do. So, without any further ado, let's cut to the game. Alright everyone, so for today's game what we're going to do is show you an image on the screen somewhere, and it will be a code that you will have to decipher. That means to figure out what the message is saying. They're not too difficult, hopefully you can get them. You might need to use your thinking caps, put those brains in gear, and let's see if you can figure out what each word is for each of the codes. So, are you ready? Here's the first one. Okay, so that was the first one. Could you figure it out? Sally, any ideas?
Well, there was a rain cloud.
Yeah.
And then like a top.
Mm-hmm.
Which could have been a coat. So, raincoat?
Yes, absolutely right. Fantastic. Good one. Okay, let's go straight into number 2. Okay, there we go, everyone. That was number 2. Did you get it? Sally, what did you think it was?
Oh, so there was a planet, which looked like our planet, so Earth.
Yep.
And then a worm, so earthworm?
Yes!
Yay!
Fantastic.
Did you get it too?
Very good at this. She's got her thinking brain on today. Alright, let's go straight into number 3. Okay, there was number 3. Any ideas? I hope you got it. Sally, what did you think it was?
I really liked this one. It was a star. And then some fish, so starfish!
Starfish!
Hey!
Excellent! Yes, you got it. Fantastic. Okay, let's go for number 4. Alright, there it is. There's number 4. Last chance to think. Okay, Sally, what did you think it was?
Oh, this was harder. There was secret, but the arrow was at the top. Top secret!
Yes! Excellent! Good job!
How did you guys do watching?
Alright then, everyone, we've got the next one. Here we go, straight on to number 5. Okay, did you get it? Sally, what did you think it was?
This was a really cheesy one.
Yeah.
You got the word tiger and then you pointed to the letter I. So the eye of the tiger.
Yes, very well known song. Yes, the eye of the tiger. Fantastic. Okay, here we go then, everyone. Last one, number 6. Okay then, everyone. Now, did you do for the last one? Hope you've been doing really well so far. Sally's been doing great. Did you get this last one?
This one made me chuckle. It took me a while. It's got 2 heels and a head, so it's head over heels.
Head over heels, yeah. So you might not know that saying, but head over heels is like when you're really just taken with someone and you are head over heels in love with them. So it's a good saying. So there we go. There are some codes for us, and hopefully you guys did really well. Now, they hopefully weren't too difficult to get, were they? And some messages, like the codes there, aren't too difficult to get. Like Moses, he had not a code for Pharaoh, but he had a message, and it was a pretty simple one at that. God says, "Let my people go." It's pretty hard to get that one mixed up with saying something else. It's pretty straightforward, pretty clear. And yet, as we will see in today's story, Pharaoh still managed to make this message really troublesome for Moses and for all of the Hebrew people who were slaves in Egypt. So, let's have a look at today's part of the story.
Moses and Aaron went to see Pharaoh. They told him, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. Let my people go, so they may hold a festival in my honor in the wilderness." "Is that so?" retorted Pharaoh. "Who is the Lord, and why should I listen to him and let Israel go? I don't know the Lord, and I will not let Israel go." That same day, Pharaoh sent this order to the Egyptians in charge of the Hebrew slaves. "Do not supply any more straw for making bricks. Make the people get it themselves, but still require them to make the same number of bricks as before. Don't reduce the quota. They are lazy, and that's why they're crying out, 'Let us go and offer sacrifices to our God.' Load them down with more work. Make them sweat. That will teach them to listen to lies. The Hebrews were in big trouble. They couldn't keep up with the work Pharaoh was making them do, and they complained to Moses and blamed him for their troubles. Well, Moses was angry and scared, so he asked God what he was going to do, because this didn't seem to be going to plan at all. Pharaoh hadn't let the people go. He'd made it even worse for them. But then the Lord told Moses, "Now you will see what I will do to Pharaoh. When he feels the force of my strong hand, he will let the people go." God told Moses to give the Hebrews encouragement. But they didn't listen to him, because they were struggling so much with the work Pharaoh forced them to do. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Pharaoh's heart is stubborn, and he still refuses to let the people go. So go to Pharaoh in the morning, as he goes down to the river. Stand on the bank of the Nile and meet him there." So Moses and Aaron did just as the Lord commanded them. As Pharaoh and all of his officials watched, Aaron raised his staff and struck the water. And suddenly, the whole river turned to blood. But Pharaoh wouldn't let the Hebrews go. A few days later, God sent Moses and Aaron to Pharaoh again. Moses said to Pharaoh, "God says, 'Let my people go.'" But Pharaoh once again refused. So God sent frogs to jump all over the people of Egypt, all of Pharaoh's household, his official ministers, and his servants. The frogs were everywhere, from the kitchen to the bathroom to bedroom. But Pharaoh didn't change his mind, even with all the croaking going on. Moses went to Pharaoh again and said, "God says, 'Let my people go.'" But again Pharaoh refused. So this time God sent clouds of gnats, tiny flies, to the land of Egypt. They flew all around the Egyptians but left the Hebrew people alone. As annoying as the gnats were, Pharaoh didn't change his mind. He still wouldn't let the Hebrews go. So Moses went back to Pharaoh and said, "God says, 'Let my people go.'" But Pharaoh refused. And God sent flies that buzzed all around the Egyptians. But the Hebrew people weren't bothered by the flies at all. Pharaoh couldn't figure it out, but he still refused to let the Hebrews go. Moses went to see Pharaoh again. This time, he said, "If you don't let the Hebrew people go, God will send a disease upon the animals of your fields and farms." But still, Pharaoh refused to listen. And so the donkeys, cows, goats, and sheep that belonged to the Egyptians became sick. But Pharaoh refused to let the Hebrews go. So God sent boils and skin blisters on all the Egyptians, even on Pharaoh himself, but none of the Hebrew people. And still, Pharaoh was stubborn and wouldn't let the people go. Then God sent a mighty hailstorm all over Egypt, so the plants of the fields were destroyed, and branches fell from the trees from how large the hailstones were. But Pharaoh refused to let the Hebrews go. Moses went to Pharaoh and says, "God says, 'How long will you be so stubborn? If you don't let my people go, I will send a swarm of locusts that will eat anything left in your fields.'" Well, by now, the officials and governors of Egypt were saying to Pharaoh, "How long will Moses keep making trouble for us? Let the Hebrews go. Egypt is ruined because of your stubbornness." But Pharaoh wouldn't back down or change his mind. His heart remained hardened. And so God sent the locusts, who ate up all the grain and plants left growing in the fields. Pharaoh pretended to change his mind then, seeing what happened all over Egypt. But as soon as Moses had prayed for God to take the insects away, and they left, Pharaoh changed his mind and refused to let the Hebrews go. So God made a darkness cover the land of Egypt. It was so dark that no one could see a thing. So dark you could almost feel it. For 3 days it was dark, even during the daytime, and none of the Egyptians dared to go out and about. But the Hebrews were fine. They had light where they were living. Even with this, Pharaoh hardened his heart and didn't let the Hebrews go.
We left the story on a bit of a cliffhanger there. Everything in Egypt is at a standstill, and the Hebrew people are still slaves. That's not the end of the story. God still had one more thing that he was going to do to free his people, but we're going to look at that next week. For now, we're going to look at what happened in the story today.
That's right. So thinking about the bits of the story that happened today, it seems like it must have been a really difficult time to live in Egypt during the time of the plagues. Imagine anyone who'd booked their holidays for then was really hoping they would get a big refund. Mm-hmm. It was a really difficult time for everyone who lived in Egypt and the Hebrew slaves. And this part of the Bible is actually quite difficult and tricky for us to get our heads around because of how difficult that time was.
That's because when we read the Bible, we so often see God help and heal people. So it seems strange to see him act in such a dramatic way that can make us feel a bit uncomfortable. So why did God send the plagues?
That is a great question. So God sent the plagues because Pharaoh had hardened his heart. That means he became really, really stubborn. He didn't want to do what anyone else, especially what God said that he should do. He didn't want to listen. Pharaoh didn't want to give up control that he had over all of the people in Egypt and especially the Hebrew slaves. He wanted things to stay the same with him in charge. And through the plagues, Pharaoh learned that he might have been pretty powerful, but he wasn't as powerful as God. And God wanted to set his people free. Pharaoh might have had lots of control over the people in the land of Egypt and the Hebrew slaves, but there was lots that he couldn't do, like change all of the water in the River Nile or call up hordes of locusts.
Pharaoh found out the hard way that being stubborn and hardening our hearts against other people, so that means not caring for the needs of those around us and only thinking of ourselves, can be a really hard way to live, and it can have tough consequences, not only for us, but the people that we live with.
For now, as we consider today's part of the story, have a think about these questions. Can you think of a time when you've been stubborn about something? What happens to our friendships when we become stubborn like Pharaoh was? Where do you feel stubbornness in your body? Has being stubborn ever made things hard for you in the long run? Have you ever regretted being stubborn? What does it feel like when someone is uncaring towards you? Maybe you could continue thinking about these questions as we have our reflection and prayer time now.
As we reflect, let's try something a bit different. Hold your hands in front of you as if you're holding something. Let's imagine that our heart is something we can hold in our hands. Imagine that when we behave like Pharaoh did and are uncaring towards others, that our hearts start to become hard, like a stone. When we ignore a chance to help someone else, when we think, say or do something that will hurt someone else, each time we do these things, the heart in our hands becomes harder, steadily turning into stone. Can you imagine how the colour might change? Can you imagine how the stone feels in your hands? Is it heavy? Does it feel cold? Now imagine that we can begin to let our stone hearts soften. Think of times when we've helped someone else, when we've been able to encourage someone or comfort them. As we do those kinds of things, that stone gradually becomes warmer and lighter, until all the stone is gone and our heart is open to others again. A hard heart cuts us off from others. It becomes a heavy thing for us to bear. But a soft heart is one that can act to do what is right and to help others. How does your heart feel today? What can you do to change it if it doesn't feel how you want it to? Mighty God, we thank you that your heart is always open for us. We're sorry for the times we behave like Pharaoh. Please help us to let go of our stubbornness, our coldness, and our need to make ourselves the best or most important. Help us to have soft hearts towards others, so that we will make choices that help others, not hurt them. Amen.